Welcome to Aftertaste, your source for honest reviews on LA's dining scene. I'm Vlad, a chef and cook with 15 years of experience. My journey in LA started working for Jose Andres at the SLS Hotel, before taking the helm of Petit Trois with Chef Ludo Lefebvre. Now, I'm a private chef. I love seeking out new dining experiences, especially with my partner Nicole, who loves to eat and cook as much as I do. Ever since we've met, we've loved going out to eat. On our podcast, we're bringing you our perspective on those experiences in the city of food that we love. So get ready to dig in and join us for your next meal. So what made us go to Firstborn?
For me, it's been a huge thing for the drinks.
Yeah.
That was my number one, absolutely. Kenzo Han was previously at Steep, which is a tea house, but also a bar. So it's like tea during the day, bar at night.
That has Steep After Dark?
Yeah, Steep After Dark is the drinks portion of it. So he came over from over there. I still haven't gotten to Steep, but I really want to go.
Yeah.
But I've been hearing about that for a couple years, so I was super excited to see what he did. And then he got all these accolades, and the bar got all these accolades. So that was so exciting. But then also the restaurant itself, there's been a lot of no specific like awards or accolades or anything like that, but I think generally a positive sentiment towards it.
I actually heard about Firstborn right when they opened because one of my coworkers went and he loved it. He was raving about it. He said it was a really fun and interesting meal, a lot of unique flavors and combinations, and he just had nothing but great things to say about it. So since then I was like, oh, we have to go to Firstborn, and we finally made it. Right when we walked into Firstborn, immediately really cool restaurant design. Whoever designed that space, really great job. The jade green tones and the wood tones, it just felt really, really clean and elegant and inviting.
I loved how the tiles, which were, inspired by the jade has a nice, deep shininess where the light kind of can penetrate a little bit, and that's exactly how the tiles felt. So they were just really pretty. It was kind of low light but warm light, and it just felt like they were almost sparkling like jewels. Yeah, super comfy. Nice soft, maybe velour banquettes, which were nice.
Yeah, very comfortable banquettes, especially in the lounge area. Right when you walk in, lounge area, you're greeted. If the table's not ready, you can kind of camp out, have a drink. You get a view of the bar, which is gorgeous. The space that Firstborn is in used to be Pok Pok, which was an amazing Thai restaurant in LA from Chef Andy Ricker, R.I.P. Pok Pok, not Chef Andy Ricker. Andy Ricker is alive and well. Pok Pok didn't make it, but that space was empty since 2017. The owners were waiting for the right tenant with the right vision. They wanted to make sure that the space was given the respect that it deserved, and Anthony got the nod from the building owners. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Like, a curated building is so special, and I think, I don't know if we're seeing that more, but we've seen it a couple times this year, like with Baby Bistro.
Yeah.
That courtyard also is a very specific group of businesses that all kind of complement each other. And that's the same for this plaza, which was actually built in 1972. So it has definitely that nostalgic Chinatown feel from when it was really first being developed into the Chinatown that we know today. And now it's owned by the sons of the guy who
originally
built it. So that's pretty
awesome.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, It has a history. You can feel it. It's great.
Yeah, and I love that these little plazas that we're seeing, there's other businesses and other restaurants and eateries. It's not just, this is the restaurant. L'Assorted is there, Steep that we talked about.
There's also some boutiques and design stores that are open during the day, so we weren't able to check them out, but they sound really cool.
And I guess a note first for the parking, there is some street parking, but there's a garage right next door that's part of the plaza, and I think it was $5 to park there.
$5, yeah.
That's not bad. Unlimited
Yeah.
parking for $5 in LA is
Especially
not bad.
on that side of town.
Right, exactly. You're really close to downtown. All right, let's get into it. We showed up a little early. We actually were dining with 2 other people. We showed up early. Our table wasn't ready. We were sat at the lounge. We were given drink menus. We ordered some drinks. I love when the restaurant does that. Like, hey, not quite ready for you. You're a little early, but let's get you started anyway. Let's make you feel at home. Versus, hey, why don't you wait outside until
Yeah.
your table is ready or come right back. I would much rather a table plan for the fact that they're going to be busy and they might have some overflow and have a plan for that. I'm seeing that a lot more where you go into a place and they have a little like waiting area where you can order a drink or maybe even a snack and camp out.
I agree. It's so great to have. And this was like such a gentle, like easing into the dining experience there. The bar, when we were there, the lounge area was pretty empty, even though the dining room was full. So
Right.
we were able to sit down, be served right away, you know. So like that was really, really nice.
I think if a restaurant has the means to do that, they should. And it adds to the check average. Like they got 2 drinks out of us before we even sat down.
Absolutely.
Drinks make more money than food, always.
Yeah.
So 2 first drinks we had a hot toddy and we had the martini, the famous martini.
What do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about the martini first because
Okay.
that is kind of like, that's what they're known for as far as the drinks. Really amazing martini. I could see why it has the accolades. It was clean and crisp, properly diluted, properly cold. The parsley and lovage oil on top just adds this really amazing grassy and earthy note to a martini, which I think it always works. You know, a martini is very, very clean. It's spirit forward, a little bit of vermouth, and that's it. Sometimes a lemon, sometimes olives. This doesn't have that.
No. But if I was to just look at this on a menu, I would be a little bit cautious.
Yeah.
Because there are quite a few martinis out there at less talented places where you see all these extra ingredients in it, and I get worried because
You're trying to do too much.
trying to do too much, it's either too sweet. That happens a lot. It's like they're trying to make martinis for people who don't like martinis.
Yeah.
It retains the identity of a martini
Sure.
while adding on to it.
Okay, so this martini has St. George Valley Gin, Empirical Silca, which is a sorghum and rice syrup distillate, Carrot Eau de Vie, Dolan Dry, which is just dry vermouth, the classic vermouth used for martini, and then lovage and parsley oil. I love when a beverage program collabs with the kitchen and uses ingredients. Like, hey, let me steal some of that herb oil that you have for that one dish. I'm going to put it on one of my drinks. That's awesome. It shows that there's a team collaboration there. So this martini is great, not only because there's a great person making it and developing it, but you also have a great team of culinary professionals helping you with the ingredients, more pantry, more option.
And it shows there's interest there, you know?
Sure.
They're not siloed in their own little part of the restaurant.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is... I've had a few martinis since this martini, specifically so that I can have a little bit of a frame of reference. Because I love martinis, classic simple gin, lemon twist, the original. This is the best martini that I've had in 2025 in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried most of your martinis.
Yeah,
I would agree.
yeah,
I also like martinis. I just don't order them quite as often as you do.
sure. I think if you're a martini lover, this is definitely a martini you should be ordering if you come here. All right, let's talk about this hot toddy.
Yeah, so the night that we went, it was rainy in LA, late December, kind of winter day for Los Angeles, which means rain.
Perfect for a toddy.
Oh man, yeah, I'm a sucker. I love a hot drink, and especially in
hot boozy drink.
A hot boozy. Well, honestly, any hot drink.
Sure, I love a hot drink, but a hot boozy drink.
But a hot boozy drink especially, and they are so rare.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles. I mean, I
not
get
too
it.
many hot toddies on menus here.
You don't often need a hot drink. It's not often really cold enough to enjoy one. Right. But this night, it was perfect. It was raining. It had that damp that gets into your bones. And it was at the top of the menu. And I was like, oh, I think I need to get that.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
They did know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Best freaking hot toddy I've ever had.
Yeah, this was delicious. It was
so
delicious.
Good. I love a hot toddy. A lot of places, I think, totally half-ass it, which sucks. This place definitely doesn't, though.
They make black tea, they put lemon, and they put a shot of bourbon in it, and they call it hot toddy. And sure, that's good when I'm at home.
Yeah.
If I'm going to a bar and paying $20 for a hot toddy, I want a little bit of effort in there.
Yeah.
Put some stuff in there.
So this one certainly did. All right. It had Nantu Dark Sequel Oolong tea.
Oolong tea.
Oolong tea. Asahi Manin Imosochu. Rittenhouse rye, lemon juice and zest, honey, spruce tips, and Angostura. And I've never thought about putting Angostura in my hot toddy,
but it's so smart.
But now that I've seen it, I'm like, duh. Yeah.
I love bitters in a lot of stuff, even non-alcoholic drinks. A little ginger bitters, I'll take that.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It gives the balance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The sochu cocktails. Really hot right now, I think.
Yeah.
I'm seeing so much more of it. Even though it is mixed with a hard liquor, I think it lends, dimension to the spirit flavor. And spruce tips, I love that.
Yeah.
Definitely feels seasonal, feels wintry.
Yes.
Very cool. Very cool.
I agree.
Not an ingredient you see often, but cool.
No. And then I think that spruce tips or spruce in general, like Nordic cuisine, brought that to the forefront, and then chefs went a little too crazy with it and didn't really figure out how to use it all that well. This was really nice because you barely knew that it was there. It was there in the back of your palate, but it was very, very subtle.
Yeah, yeah.
And it should be, because spruce is extremely powerful and overpowering, and this worked.
And every part of this was smart, having lemon juice and zest. Lemon juice, it can kind of thin things out a little bit too much, so having zest as well. You get the oils from the lemon. Again, with the sochu, the other good thing about it, adds a little bit of sweetness without relying entirely on the honey, because a lot of toddies are very sweet or way too sweet because they just pour in the honey.
I think my other issue with toddies is because they're just putting straight bourbon in it, it's a little bit aggressive, and the spirit kind of overpowers you. This was so well balanced.
Yeah, they killed it.
Yeah.
They killed it.
Yeah, Kenzo, great job, man. That was awesome. I read that Kenzo, one of his specialties as a bartender is incorporating teas into his drinks, and given this is a Chinese-inspired restaurant, this just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
And
coming from Steep, obviously that was easily
I'm sure
doable.
that this hot toddy has been on a Steep After Dark menu in some iteration.
Yeah.
So, would order again.
Yeah, yeah. And I, as longtime listeners will know, I'm very sensitive to caffeine.
Yeah.
Oolong is a black tea, so it does have caffeine in it. and I paid dearly for this drink. Did not get a good night of sleep.
You mean
afterwards.
the alcohol doesn't counterbalance?
It takes a lot of alcohol
Yeah.
to do that. But it was worth it. It was worth it. I would have this drink again and, screw the consequences.
Right. The next drink I had was the Old Fashioned. Maker's Mark cask strength, Old Grandad bourbon, dry aged duck fat, orange bitters, dry curacao, cane sugar, orange twist. Fat washed cocktails are becoming as prevalent on menus as crudos these days. And I've had good versions and I've had not good versions. I thought this was a good version. I thought it was a pretty solid old fashioned, really nicely balanced, not too sweet. It was a tad under diluted, but I think for me that's okay. And the fat wash was nice. It wasn't too aggro, like it could be like too much sometimes. And this was a nice drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it tasted good.
I liked the martini more.
Yeah.
I thought the martini was more creative. I think the duck fat washed old fashioned has been done. I didn't think it really felt unique to this place.
Yeah, I'd agree. But going back to what you were saying about using the kitchen ingredients in the drinks.
Yeah, that's
They have
true.
a bunch of duck on the menu.
Yeah.
So you have that fat available. If you have duck on the menu and you're going to do that, that's great.
Yeah.
But if you don't have any duck on the menu, you're doing a duck fat wash thing, it's weird. So the next drink was the Kingston Negroni, which you could probably tell was a little bit Caribbean inspired. It had Ming River Baijiu, Smith and Cross rum, Campari, Kochi Vermouth de Torino, green tangerine puer, and lime.
Puer is tea.
Yes.
You didn't know?
Yes, it is.
What'd you think?
I thought it was a little too bitter for me. I do like Negronis,
Yeah.
so I wasn't expecting to feel that way. I don't know. Maybe it was because of some of the other elements that were added that kind of just amped up the bitterness of a regular Negroni. I'm not sure.
Oh, the lime zest instead of orange. I think lime is a little bit more bitter, the zest.
It was like half a lime.
It was a lot of lime and zest in that drink. The pure tea also.
No, it was the garnish on top.
It was a whole half a lime? Wow, okay. Maybe that's part of it. I liked it, the sips that I had. I will say the order of operations may have been off because we ordered this Negroni in the middle of the meal, and it's not really something you want to order in the middle of the meal. I don't think that was your fault by any means. You wanted to order it because we wanted to try it. We had heard about this Negroni. It's kind of one of the other drinks that that Kenzo is known for as far as the influence of tea and the Chinese flavors. I thought it was a great drink. I thought it was not the best time to order it.
Yeah, I deployed it wrong. That's on me. But I did really want the hot toddy when we came in from the cold, so
Yeah.
that's why I ordered that first.
I don't think that you were wrong in ordering the hot toddy first because of that reason. Although I would definitely finish a meal with a hot toddy. That would have been good.
Oh, that is good. I do like finishing with a hot drink.
Yeah, that would have been the move. Start with the Negroni. I think ultimately, if you're unfamiliar with Negronis, it's much better to start your meal with a Negroni than to be in the middle and taste all of these foods that have a lot of flavors and then just get punched in the face with bitterness.
Yeah.
Because the Negroni is just the most bitter drink you can order
It's
on
a very,
any menu.
it's aperitif-like, you know.
Of course, yeah. It gets you hungry.
Yeah.
We were already
Yeah,
halfway through our meal.
we were deep in there, and I think there are a lot of kind of sweet elements, not
Yes.
sweet dishes, but sweet elements in the dishes that, in contrast to
Yeah.
the Negroni, just made it taste so bitter.
Right. I think that it's really challenging to pair cocktails with your meal because you're kind of, I want to try this. It sounds interesting, but it might not go with the food that I ordered, and like you might not be thinking about that. So I guess most people just aren't gonna like even think about that. You think about pairing wine
Right.
with your meal, and
Which
that's
is
easy.
generally a safer way to do things.
Sure. But we wanted to try all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So we tried it, and I think next time maybe switch it up. This is actually not the only Negroni on the menu. There were two
Yes.
Negronis.
Yes, and I almost ordered the other one because that
Yeah.
one looked interesting as well.
Yeah. It's interesting to see two Negronis on a cocktail menu. Usually,
Well,
that's
the
not case.
other one was a white Negroni, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
And you talking about the pairing the cocktails and the food, it really makes me think of our meal at Effin Bar,
Yeah.
where that's the whole point.
I know. That was really cool. That was
It
a
was
cool meal.
really, really cool. So if you want to have an education
Yeah.
in cocktails being paired with specific foods, Effin Bar, there's some here, some in New York City, and
Yeah, that was a cool meal.
really, really interesting. Okay.
All right, let's talk about the food.
Yeah. What did you think of this menu?
Really interesting, really inviting. I was excited to try a lot of this stuff. I wish that we were able to order more of this stuff, but you can only order what you order. We ordered pretty heavy. They recommended that we order 8 to 12 dishes. There were 4 of us. 8 to 12 dishes is a lot for 4 people. We ordered 8 dishes.
And I was full by the time the 8th one hit the table. I was really struggling.
I was ready to eat like another 4 or 5 dishes because
my gosh.
but that's me, I'm a bottomless pit.
Okay.
I think that they were right in their 8 to 12. 12 is a lot. I think 12 for 4 people here is too much.
Yeah, probably 10 would be the sweet spot.
Yeah. Depends on what you order. Because the way the menu's structured, there's a couple little starters, and then there's a really big midsection, which is kind of not necessarily mains, but just their stuff. And then there's a couple of entrees, like larger format, and they're not even like big, large format. There was the duck, there was the short rib. This is like a normal size entree that 2 people could split. I liked the way the menu was structured. I didn't necessarily like where some of those items were in that structure, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
But it was cool. Going back to talking about Chef Anthony, he's never cooked Chinese food. He didn't work in a Chinese restaurant. He was born in Florida, in Miami. Born in Miami, grew up in Georgia, so he's got a lot of Southern influence. Growing up eating all that food, there was the fried chicken on the menu is the most popular dish, so we did order that. We're going to talk about it. But it was interesting because you read the menu and you're like, this doesn't really sound like Chinese food.
Yeah.
It looks like a very chef-driven, chefy menu. There is some Chinese flavors and techniques and inspiration. You see the Mapo Tofu on there. There's some fermented stuff on there. But really kind of unique menu, I think. You look at the stuff and you're like, wow, this is not like any other menu I've seen. I would say the entrees portion, the big mains, is the most like, there's a short rib, there's a duck breast. It's the most kind of in line with other chefy restaurants in LA.
Yeah. I mean, you can really see his mixed identity here.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. And I think it's also, I read, he's gone to China to study certain methods and ingredients. And I think it's been a real opportunity for him to learn more about his own culture and even about the food that he already grew up with that, you might not know every little detail about it or whatever, and really getting into those ingredients more.
For sure.
And bringing them to an American palate.
Yeah, I agree.
That said, I was a little bit surprised that there weren't more things on the menu I wasn't familiar with. Mm-hmm. I think I was imagining, I guess this is just my preconceived notion. I was imagining it would be a little bit more stuff like that I haven't encountered in restaurants here in Los Angeles, but pretty much everything, like tongue is a little bit more unusual. I do love beef tongue, so
there's
like sweetbreads, but we've had those a couple places here. It's not crazy,
I think that the the menu itself, like some of the techniques and ingredients, is very like bistro, brasserie type of inspo here, more so than Chinese cooking like we have in San Gabriel Valley. If you want the kind of authentic Chinese cuisine and trying flavors and ingredients that you may have never tried, I think this is not the place for that. It's more if you go to Alhambra or San Gabriel Valley, there's amazing restaurants where we can have that. This is a lot more, I think, this is what Chef Anthony wants to cook. There's some Chinese influence here, but I don't think that's really the main focus.
Yeah.
I do think, from what I was told previously, the menu felt a little bit safer than earlier iterations. Maybe they got some notes that they have to cater to the LA diner and to the clientele. I think we're a little bit more adventurous than your average Angelino.
But yeah, I mean, all that said, everything sounded very good when we sat down and read the menu. There were more things I wanted to order than we had room for in our stomachs.
It's billed as this modern Chinese restaurant, which we have like one or two kind of modern Chinese places here. There's Dan Modern Chinese, Din Tai Fung, stuff like that, where you can get really well executed Chinese dishes. But this didn't feel like that at all. And I appreciate that. I don't need another version of that. I don't need another Din Tai Fung or a Dan Modern Chinese where I can get a good noodle or a good dumpling. Or this was cool. It was very, very out there and like just doing their own thing. So the first thing that we had was the fermented tofu Caesar. It had some wood ear mushrooms and these garlic croutons, a little bit of daikon in there. Salanova lettuce. I liked the dressing. I did not like the wood ear mushrooms. I thought they just didn't belong in a Caesar. To me, like, give me the lettuce and give me the croutons, and I don't want the wood ear mushrooms or the daikon. It's a good way to start a meal. It was kind of refreshing. I didn't think that the dressing was all that special. I think I prefer a classic Caesar.
Yeah, I was looking for a little bit more punchiness from the dressing. It was bland slash, I don't know, maybe I didn't get a lot of it.
Yeah.
It was just barely there for me. It really didn't make much of an impact, which I was actually disappointed about because I really like fermented tofu and I was looking forward to that. But yeah, just overall underwhelming.
Yeah, I think once you puree the tofu and it can get a little bit, I don't want to say watery. It didn't feel watery to me. I thought the flavor of the dressing was nice. I did want a little bit more garlic, like really aggressive raw garlic.
Yeah.
I think also if you get a bite with the daikon, which is also kind of watery and like not too flavorful, I don't think you need it in there. Salanova is also kind of a watery lettuce.
Yeah, it did just feel very watery. Also, the mushrooms were kind of moist.
Yeah, I mean, that's what wood ear mushrooms are kind of like
So,
that.
but I'm just saying it all kind of added in to like dilute the flavor of things.
I think it's a fun experimental thing that they can work on. Unless some people might like it. The garlic croutons were incredible. I loved those. I kept eating them.
Next, we had the warm Japanese sweet potatoes, which has sesame sabayon, walnut, pear, and pecorino. Thought this dish was great. This is one of the standouts of the night for me. It was pretty large pieces of steamed sweet potato under the sesame sabayon. My favorite part was the sesame sabayon. I thought it was really executed really nicely. Very like thick and heavy, like a real...
The sabayon or the overall dish?
Well, both. I mean, the sabayon was, and then obviously sweet potato is a hefty, starchy vegetable. So this was extremely filling. And this is probably why I got so full by the end of the meal. And I didn't even have that much of it, but it really did taste very good, very warming, but quite heavy. But for a chilly, rainy LA night, perfect thing.
Yeah. I thought this was a really great dish. It was really well balanced, a lot of textures, a lot of flavors. The sweet potato was really nice. The sabayon was also my favorite part. And again, harping back to the like, bistro brasserie influence here, like having a sabayon. Love saying sabayon. Sabayon. It's delicious, but it's kind of an egg sauce on top of sweet potatoes, and then they have this walnut pear pesto with pecorino, and then there was some vinegar glaze on there. It was very heavy and rich, and this was on the starters section of the menu, and this felt more like a really awesome vegetable side. I would have rather had this with our mains than in the very beginning. I just don't think it's placed right in the menu. I think it's an amazing dish, and I don't really have a whole lot of notes about the actual dish other than where it is on the menu. Mm-hmm. The server recommended it as well. He said it's very popular, and I could see why. Very tasty.
Yeah.
So, again, I think next time coming here, I would want this with my mains instead of with the salad. So that was our first two dishes, and then the next three items that we had, we got the duck fat rice, the Mapo Tofu, and the egg custard.
And just at the beginning of this round, thank God we got this rice. The rice is essential. I mean, I kind of knew that. Egg custard, classic with rice. I love egg custard. You got to get the rice if you're getting either of these or both.
And the rice is the only side on the menu. And it's at the very bottom, duck fat rice with scallions. And the server, we actually ordered it like thinking that it would come with the mains. And he was very smart to send it with these two saucy dishes. So seeing as how you started talking about the egg custard, why don't you roll in?
All right. I love egg custard. I love the texture. I only recently learned that some people don't love the texture, which is crazy to me because I think it's fantastic.
This was very well executed.
It was delicious. It was delicious. So you have the egg custard on the bottom, some like blanched peeled tomatoes on top, nori, sunflower chili, really nice.
Yes,
and
I
some
agree.
some shiso on top as well.
I thought the egg custard was very, very flavorful. I thought the execution of the custard was very, very proper. Mm-hmm. And spooning some of that sauce on top of the rice was fantastic.
Yeah, because you get like the nice tart, almost tartness of the tomato, but it was also pretty like savory because it was cooked a little bit.
Yeah.
Same with the chili and the nori, that helped as well. Everything kind of combined to make a little sauce on there.
Yeah, I agree. Very good.
On top of rice, this is as incredibly proper as you can get.
I agree.
Delicious.
The next thing that we had was the Mapo Tofu with sweetbreads. I read earlier iterations of the Mapo Tofu was more of a tartare on the menu, which I was excited for. This is more of a traditional Mapo Tofu with the sweetbreads and this like amazing ragu that I'm pretty sure is made with pork feet. And it was extremely rich and flavorful and just really, really well executed. Nice big hunks of sweetbread and tofu. Great with the rice. My only note on this is I wanted it to be spicier.
Yeah.
A Mapo Tofu is supposed to be spicy. It's supposed to make you feel it. And this had a little tingle, but I wanted more. I wanted more tingle. I think they can go a little bit more aggro here, and they're holding back.
I agree. And from the rest of the dishes that we had on the menu, a lot of them weren't even trying to be spicy. Like a lot of them didn't have a chili or peppercorn element. So it would be nice to have like that one item that is kind of...
Make it hurt.
Yeah, really hot.
And it's Mapo Tofu. It's supposed to hurt.
And you're getting it with the rice. So like even if you aren't that great with spice, like I'm middling. I like it. It's hard for me sometimes, but when I can have it with the rice, it mellows it, makes it much more approachable.
And let's talk about the rice real quick. It's a duck fat rice with just some scallions and a very, very kind of classic side of rice.
Yeah.
Really awesome aroma from the duck fat. This, you can really taste and smell the duck fat in there, and it was really, really nice.
Yeah, it gives a nice kind of sheen to the outside of the rice that I like. And the rice in general was just cooked, for me, really perfectly.
Yeah.
It still had a bit of bite to it. It wasn't
Really nice
overcooked
texture,
at all.
yeah. Almost a little al dente. You can taste the individual grains. And especially once you mix it in with a sauce, you can really see like how awesome it was.
Yeah. It's like it's not even fully hydrated yet, and it needs that sauce to bring it all together.
Yeah.
To bloom it open.
Yeah. So we ordered mostly heavily from the mid-course section. We did get 2 things from the main entree section, but we ordered heavy. We got the fried chicken and we got the duck sausage and crepinette. Mm-hmm. So the signature dish of this restaurant is actually their fried chicken. It's a take on a Chongqing Chicken. This is probably the 3rd or 4th fried chicken dish we've had at like a chefy, upscale, Asian-inspired restaurant. This is the best one of those that we've had, I would say. You know, we've no knock on places like Anajak Thai or Razaruma. They thought those chicken dishes were great. This was just on a little bit of another level. And I think partially it's because Chef Wang grew up in Georgia. He ate a lot of fried chicken. He knows his way around fried chicken.
Yeah.
And this was a great version.
You can tell.
Yeah. The chicken was extremely flavorful and juicy. The the actual batter, really, really crispy. I would say a tad too thick.
I liked it.
But it's because they're leaving it in the batter. They're doing I think they're doing like a wet batter and then a dredge, but they're leaving it in the dredge for a day overnight, plus a day of marination before that. So it's a 2-day process for this chicken. Leaving it in the dredge, I've done this before versus dredging an hour or 2 in advance. It really sticks to the chicken. Because the worst thing about fried chicken is you take a bite and then all of the fried bits just fall off.
Yeah, I hate that.
Right? Leaving it overnight, it really assures that this is attached to the chicken. The one downside is it can be a little thick. I don't think that's a bad thing here. I didn't think it was as thick as I've had in the past, so it was very, very nice. The seasoning was great. The spice level was a lot more mild than I thought it would be. The Szechuan peppercorn and the numbing tingling was really, really nice, but again, like the Mapo Tofu, a bit subdued for the Angelinos.
I wouldn't mind a little bit more of a kick on here.
Yeah.
Love the tingle, though.
Love a good tingle.
Big fan of the tingle.
Who doesn't like a good tingle? And the chilies were nice. There was a lot of like chilies on top and then kind of a chili oil on the bottom. I did read some reviews where people thought that the chili oil kind of made it a little bit soggy on the bottom. I didn't really find that.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. It's a 4-piece. You get basically a wing, breast, thigh, and drum. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. We had 4 people at the table. Everyone picked what they wanted. Yeah, it was good. I would order again.
Yeah, so next we had duck sausage and crepinette with red braised daikon and green apple. I loved this.
Yeah.
So this is actually my first time having something en crepinette. Mm-hmm. And I was hoping that, Chef, you could share with me and everyone else what it actually is.
Yeah, I think when most people find out what it is, they might be a bit more squeamish about it. But crepinette is very French. And you basically take like a sausage or a farce ground meat mixture and you wrap it in caul fat, which is, if you look up a picture of caul fat, kind of looks like a bunch of spider webs. And it's fat and membrane, and it kind of holds the sausage like a pillow. And then when you sear it, that fat melts and gets unctuous, but also protects the sausage and like kind of keeps the juices in.
Is it like a casing in a way?
It's similar to a sausage casing.
Yeah.
It's similar to a sausage casing, but you make like a little patty of sausage and then you wrap it around this caul fat, which is a lot stronger than you might think. Like it's pretty, it holds together. And then when you sear it, you don't see that caul fat really all that much anymore. It kind of melts because you didn't notice.
No.
It doesn't look
no,
like it.
not at all. Yeah.
Right. It has a decent tensile strength, I think more so than sausage casing, which I've had plenty of experience in ripping, trying to fill sausages. It's a challenge. Caul fat holds up a little bit better. Really tasty, really fun technique, and I like that it uses parts of the animal that we don't normally use. And the flavor isn't all too strong, so it's approachable.
Yeah, I would say for this dish, it was such an excellent choice because especially with poultry sausage, things can definitely get a bit dry.
Yeah.
So what a great choice in the way to prepare this dish. I just think it was great.
I think this was definitely one of our favorites of the night, and it again creeps into that bistro brasserie type of influence in the food and the cuisine here. The sauce was really great, and I think there was a little spinach underneath there. The daikon was nice. The apple, I want to call it ketchup for lack of a better word, but it was kind of like a green apple jelly, but something a little tart and sweet to cut the richness. The sausage itself was extremely well made. Very juicy, very well seasoned.
The daikon on the side was basically unrecognizable.
I know.
I'm very familiar with daikon. I use it a lot to make pickles and, all sorts of things. I was like, what is that vegetable?
Right.
And we asked, we were like, that's daikon? But it was great. It was kind of a mellow flavor.
Yeah.
And had a really nice texture because it was braised. So it was like soft, but it retained a little bit of firmness. And next to the very rich, very flavorful sausage, it had a little tiny bit of crunch left to it, which was perfect,
Yeah. I would order it again. And we were between this and ordering the duck breast main, and we decided on this one. And I'm glad we decided on this one. We've had great duck breast in the city, and I've seen the photos of the duck they do at Firstborn. It looks great. I would have it. If I went back, I would order it. But duck sausage, crepinette, you don't see that on any menus.
Yeah.
I remember we did a crepinette special once at Petit Trois. But aside from that, you don't see crepinette on any menus.
So true. I know. I can't believe I've never had it before.
It's old school.
It's awesome.
It's old school. Okay, let's move on. With our main that we ordered, which was the short rib, we also got the barbecue cabbage.
So this barbecue cabbage was so interesting. First of all, just to be clear, it does not come with any kind of barbecue sauce. Barbecue refers to the fact that it is like roasted on a barbecue.
Yeah, it's very, very charred. Very, very charred.
Yeah. So the presentation was fascinating. It was kind of like, I called it like a horizontal lasagna because you had the strips of cabbage next to each other, and then you had this like leek, confit, vinaigrette kind of in between it.
Yeah, they kind of layer leeks in between it.
Yeah, really, really interesting, like visually.
It definitely looked like a lasagna almost.
Yeah, it really did. But very thin strips. Like it was not like a thick piece of cabbage.
Yeah. I'm just so happy to see cabbage on more menus. I want cabbage to get the respect it deserves.
Okay, here's the thing. I love cabbage. I think I personally just like my cabbage to retain a little bit more crunch.
Yeah.
I felt like it had lost pretty much all of its structural integrity.
You thought it was too soft.
I thought it was too soft. And here's the thing. You roast it, right? And then you put vinaigrette on top. Any of that crispness that you had from the roasting goes away because it gets like inundated with the liquid from the vinaigrette.
Yeah.
And that actually did disappoint me because I really love that crunch, especially when you barbecue a vegetable like cabbage or like Brussels sprouts. that's what I love about it.
Okay. I grew up eating a lot of cabbage. And most of the cabbage that I grew up eating that was cooked for a long time and soft. So for me, this was not off-putting. I felt right at home.
I bet you did, yeah.
I thought this was delicious. It's definitely one of their signatures. And I hope that everyone that comes here orders it because people should order more cabbage.
I agree with that.
This is a great version.
I definitely agree with that.
I hear you on the crunch and the texture, but it wasn't a negative for me. For me, this was as intended.
I don't think it's like a ding. I think it's a...
That's a personal preference.
If you order this, just be aware this is how it comes.
Yeah, it's not going to be a crunchy cabbage.
Yeah. It's soft.
Yeah.
But also, I think the strips themselves, like I wish the slice, it's kind of like a cross slice. I wish that was just a bit thicker. And I think that would have helped for me as well.
Cabbage, it's going on more menus. I think that Brussels sprouts and cauliflower are out and cabbage is in, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, I'm here for it too. We've already had a lot of great cabbage, and I am excited for the future of cabbage.
If you see cabbage on the menu, likely it's going to be a lot better than you might expect. The last savory dish we had was the short rib. It had pepper jus, some black garlic, some broccoli. It's kind of like beef with broccoli is the inspiration here, right?
Yeah,
beef with
and
broccoli.
Who doesn't love beef with broccoli?
Right. And the short rib itself was so nicely charred and definitely like a Wagyu. It was like super rich and super tender, but it ate like a steak.
Yeah.
And it was like a nice big hunk of short rib with these charred broccoli on top. And then there was a broccoli puree, which you never see.
I really liked that.
I really liked it too. And then the sauce is kind of like that, like Chinese like pepper sauce on the bottom. And yeah, this was a really, really good dish. It wasn't one of those like braised short ribs. Like it was still pink in the middle and you cut it with a steak knife. And it was extremely charred very, very well. I thought it was delicious.
Yeah, I almost couldn't believe it was short rib because it didn't really feel like it.
Well, once you get into the Wagyus and it's just a little bit better quality, you can eat short rib like a steak or like we used to do at a restaurant I worked at, we had these Wagyu short rib kebabs with this amazing Australian Wagyu that we got from West Home. And we marinated it a little bit overnight, but nothing that like really tenderized it. And we grilled it over charcoal and you ate it like a steak. It wasn't chewy. It was fantastic. So I think that's a testament. To choosing great ingredients. You don't have to do as much and they really shine on their own. I think that this was a really good example of that.
Yeah. So desserts. Oftentimes my favorite part of the menu.
Oftentimes you're too full to have it.
Most times I power through anyway.
I think there were four of us. If it was only you and me, we probably would have gotten one dessert. But we were like, oh, there's only three. We should try them all.
So the first one we had was basically the title of it was vanilla sponge. And then it said what it was with it. But I'm just going to say that at first because me looking at this menu, I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of boring.
Yes.
You know, like, oh, vanilla and just cake. Okay. Sounds boring to my brain. It was not.
No.
I loved it. It had so many elements and flavors and textures. It just hit. So it had red bean, it had oolong, it had blackcurrant and blackberry. So the blackcurrant blackberry was on the bottom as on the plate, just this little very tart sauce, as you can imagine with blackcurrant, especially. I love blackcurrant.
Yeah,
love
good.
to see it on a menu, and you rarely do. So tart, perfect, because you do have the vanilla sponge, which is very sweet. The red bean was so smooth.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Yeah. It was really, really well done, especially to translate it for an American palate. I think a lot of Americans don't like the bean skins or the like pastiness that you can have with the red bean. I personally don't mind it, but this was also a really lovely way to experience that flavor. And then there was some cream on top, which is where I think the oolong was.
Yeah.
Just delicious. Just so good.
Yeah, I really love this version of like a sponge cake, vanilla sponge. The red bean, super nice. And I actually don't normally like red bean desserts. Red bean desserts very prevalent in Eastern cuisines. And oftentimes I am like those people you mentioned where I don't like the pastiness or it just doesn't feel like a dessert thing to me. Beans feels like a savory thing. This was really nice.
Yeah.
Really, really good dessert. I would order it again. And it was so light. You think cake is heavy. It wasn't heavy.
Yeah.
And the portion size was nice.
Yeah, the portion size, you really don't want it any bigger.
No.
You just want a couple mouthfuls to kind of end the meal, and it was perfect.
Yeah. Good dessert.
Yeah.
So the next dessert was a chamomile custard with green apple and kiwi granita and kinako shortbread. When this came to the table, I got really excited. It looked so pretty and so awesome. There was all this like granita with a little cookie on top, and then the custard was underneath. But I did find this dessert fell a little flat for me. The granita was a little bit watery. Like I wanted it to be a little bit more punchy and flavorful. And then the custard tasted good, but once you started eating it, it kind of like mixed in with the granita, and the color of that custard was a little bit green, and so was the granita. It kind of started to look a bit unpleasant.
Yeah. The other thing I didn't enjoy about this dessert was the cookie on top. So you have, I mean, it's a cookie texture. Trying to like get through it with then you have soft custard underneath.
Yeah.
It was very difficult to do, and I felt like I didn't have a clear way into this dessert, like how to eat it.
Yeah.
I didn't love that. I did think the cookie tasted good. The chamomile custard was a bit overpowering for me.
Yeah.
And I thought it clashed a bit with the green apple and kiwi.
I don't necessarily agree about the I liked the chamomile. It was the combination with the granita that kind of threw it off for me. I would have much rather seen, instead of this cookie, which is kind of this textural component they want to add more to, I would rather see like some fresh fruit. Give me some fresh kiwi on there. Or some candied something. Like give me something else besides that cookie. The cookie was good. I just didn't think it made sense with this dessert. And I love a granita and like a shaved ice kind of dessert. But normally with a shaved ice dessert, there's like some sort of fruit or jelly component. I would much rather have had that than the cookie. All right, the last dessert was the ginger cookie. It came with compressed pear and buckwheat cream. And it also had some crispy puffed wild rice on top.
I loved this dessert.
Me too.
Thought
This was my favorite dessert.
Yeah, I mean the sponge for me was my number one, but this was a very close number two.
Yeah, this was my number one.
Yeah, the cookie especially I really enjoyed. The texture was chewy, almost like bendy.
Yeah, it was really good.
And just felt really good on my teeth. Just chewing it.
And it wasn't like, I think a lot of ginger cookies are a bit off-putting. There's like too much cinnamon or too much spice or whatever it is, like that holiday ginger cookie. I can't stand that. This was the best ginger cookie I've ever had.
Yeah, I would agree. I would love to be able to recreate this at home.
Yeah. The compressed pear, also really nice. The buckwheat cream was super luscious and delicious, and I love buckwheat, so for me this was a knock out of the park dish. And I think some closing notes about the food here. Every menu I have seen online has been different. A lot of different dishes. They're changing stuff out. They're experimenting. They are figuring out who they are and what their identity is. So I am really excited to see where they take it from here. I think that there were some hits and there were some misses in our meal, but the overall love and care in the food and the creativity is so prevalent and so there, and I just think that's a great thing.
I am really excited to see how the menu keeps evolving in the coming seasons and coming years.
Okay, so let's talk about service.
Onto the service. I thought it was solid. You know, they seem to have a handle on things mostly. One thing I want to point out is the host. When we got there early, she was super poised and directed us to the lounge, set us up. We felt very taken care of. And then immediately the server for the bar area came out to take our drinks, orders, and that all felt very, very smooth, like very like choreographed.
Yeah.
Once we got in the dining room, maybe a little bit less.
Yeah.
They seemed a little bit busy.
Yeah, we were the only people in that lounge. So, and there was 2 bartenders there. It was easy for them to take care of us. And I think when we got there, a lot of other tables got sat at once. So our server, I think, was a little bit overwhelmed, and it was a small team on that night. So that makes sense. The host was super pro.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Really, really great. And I don't know, she felt professional and confident, like very confident, very, very welcoming. That was a really great first impression. I think there was one time they didn't change our plates in between courses, and I was not annoyed, but the course that came afterwards was very saucy, and we had some leftover bits, and I wanted fresh plates. I never asked for fresh plates, but I think for a restaurant of this caliber, it should be automatic. And throughout the rest of the meal, they did change our plates. So that was just kind of I think he got triple sat, or they got too busy, and it was a miss, but it wasn't like a crucial, huge thing.
Yeah.
What did you think about our rapport with the server? And like we had asked a bunch of questions, recommendations. We did our usual spiel. How do you think he did?
I think he did fine. I think that he was very nice, very personable. When I asked, what should we definitely not leave without having, he went to his favorites, which I'm like, okay, that does give us some information. But, the question behind the question is like, what is the chef excited about? Like, what's the thing that the people who are making this food are like, oh, I hope people try this.
Yeah.
And I didn't really feel like that was the answer we got. Not really a ding, though, because
It took him a little bit to get there. He eventually did get there because he said, everyone really likes the cabbage, everyone really likes the custard. He started first with his favorites, and then eventually he's like, okay, well, these are the things a lot of people have been positive about lately.
Yeah.
I think, but I also agree he felt less confident than the host.
Yeah, and then I asked him a follow-up question about one of the drinks on the dessert menu. He didn't really have an answer for that, but he went and he checked and he found out for me. So that was good. That was nice.
Yeah, could be new, could still be learning the ropes. It is a new restaurant, and new restaurants have a lot of turnover, and it's training staff. It takes a bit.
Yeah.
So I would say that overall the service here was good. Not the best we've had in the city, but certainly nothing that left us feeling like we had bad service. With that being said, let's get to the verdict.
Yes. So we are rating Firstborn 2 taste buds.
Yeah, I think we were both quite torn about this. We were between a 2 or 3. We don't do 2.5. Here, I think that this place was great, and for the neighborhood, if we're living near here, absolutely stopping in, having a few drinks, having a snack, having a full dinner. Do I want to make the drive from Santa Monica to try Firstborn? I don't know. I'm not quite sure it's at that level yet.
Yeah, I think something that I'm thirsting for that would put them in 3 territory, I would just love them to push the envelope just a little bit more.
Yeah.
in terms of flavor, in terms of ingredients, I think they're starting to do that. You see the kernels, and I just want them to go more.
Yeah.
More and more. I want them to push me as a diner. I'm very interested in that, and I think they have it in them.
Look, I think that seeing the 3 main entrees was pan-roasted fish, duck breast, and short rib. These are not new things. These are not things that you don't see. These are things you see in a lot of menus in town. They're doing a lot of the same ingredients. At least there wasn't a crudo.
I was going to say, in their defense.
At least there wasn't a crudo. But yeah, like a duck breast and a short rib, those are all things that have been done. Give me something fun and new and interesting, because that's what they're trying to do, right? The duck sausage is a great example of that.
Yes.
Give me more dishes like that. I think the service was good, but could be a little bit better for the price point and the overall elegance of this place.
I would say if this restaurant was within 15 minutes of our house, instantly in the rotation.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Unfortunately, it's not. So
yeah, I think the drinks were a 3.
Yeah.
I think the beverage program here is worthy of the accolades that it has gotten, and I am very excited to try more drinks and come back. And it's a brand new restaurant. They're still trying to find themselves, so this could be a 3. I think that we've said a lot of positive things about this meal. So if you're in the area, if you're in the neighborhood, go check out Firstborn in Chinatown and let us know what you think.
Yeah. All right. That's all for this week. See you next time.
Bye.